Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Faisel Sayed,
And I'm Dr. Dan McCarter.
and you're listening to Faisel and Friends, where we believe access to primary care is a right, not a privilege. Today we're talking to Dr. Olivia Richman, family medicine physician, author, speaker, and content creator, about thriving in medical school and beyond. Let's dive right in. Hello, Dr. Richman. So nice to meet you. Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You know, I've been really looking forward to speaking with you. I know your mother very well. So we meet each other regularly, and we were talking about this book, and then she was like, yeah, that's my daughter. That's my daughter's book. And I thought, oh my gosh. Okay, I got to have her on our podcast. We got to talk about, where's she training? She's training at an unopposed family medicine program. Oh my God. At a community-based family medicine program. And, we do a lot of medical education, and we just started getting into the community-based family medicine program. I was like, we got to get her on. Because I remember those 30-hour shifts, the 100-hour work weeks, and the pathetic stipend. Oh, not pathetic. I mean, I'm grateful for whatever the stipend that we had at the time. But, so tell me, before we get into talking about all the amazing things you've done and you're doing and you're going to do, and hopefully I can kind of convince you to write a book about residency, how to thrive in residency. Please, Dr. Richmond, if you can let us know, what was it that attracted you to medicine? And you're not allowed to say your mom. Okay, you can say your mom. You can say your mom. You can say your mom if you want to. Mom definitely had an influence, but nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you. Thank you for that introduction. Thank you for sharing about my mom. I mean, if you work closely with her, you know that she's quite a character. She is absolutely wonderful. I mean, I'm biased, but this is coming from an unbiased source, which is you.
Yeah, that's right.
And she's, of course, like just an incredible provider as well. Yeah. So, I mean, I could say my mom, but I'm not going to. I might say instead the stories that she used to bring home when I was a child, and the stories of her patients. And I think what really attracted me to medicine, not only did I want a challenge and to work with individuals as well, but I wanted to have that sense of humility and appreciation for life, because I remember her coming home with these stories, and some were happy, some were sad, some were scary. It was a whole range of emotions. And I just remember thinking, wow, I feel like I would be very grounded as a human being if I became a doctor, because I would have, I would be running into those stories day in and day out. And I feel like I would just appreciate life a little bit more on my day to day, and the little things wouldn't bog me down. And it's checked out so far. The little things don't. I'm a millennial, and my iPhone hasn't been working for about 3 days now. And I'm like,
no,
well,
I am so sorry. My condolences to you.
It's okay. It's okay. Because
It is.
a patient that I had today had a story that was 100 times worse about that was going on with their health and their life. And so I was like, it's okay. It's going to be fine. I'm healthy, and that's what matters right now.
Wow, and your mom, I mean, I don't want to, it's easy. I have a bias, I'm close with her mother, get to know her. And I mean, she has such an incredible experience being a community doctor, working with the underserved at a federally qualified health center. So I'm not surprised at all that you were inspired by her stories, as opposed to my son, who said that he wants to go to medical school to become a surgeon. And I said, why a surgeon? Why a surgeon? And he said, because doctors talk too much.
Teach their own.
I teach his own, teach their own. And I'd be happy. I'm just really, I love that your mother is like, you're a huge inspiration. And really the stories that your mother's brought home, because it's actually those anecdotes that get us through so many different situations in life. Oftentimes we meet other doctors. We're live at the FMX conference here in DC. And so we meet people from all different walks of life. And and they want to know, like, if there was a military doctor, there might be a direct primary care doctor who's not dealing with insurance at all. And then we find the common denominator between all, even a hospital-based doctor, and it comes down to like, hey, the stories. No matter what I have going on in my life, what you just said, whatever my issues are, there are patients that need us and they need our guidance. And so I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah, yeah. I think stories, they connect us, and sharing your stories, especially vulnerable stories, which is my thing. I think that really is what
The
connects
real
human
the
beings.
real stories, I hear it
The
all the time.
real,
They're like, "That's so real." And I'm like, "Oh, do you mean being vulnerable?" So
yeah,
being vulnerable is real. Yes, being
yeah.
vulnerable as
It's
opposed to
cool.
what?
I
Yeah,
don't know.
I agree. No, I agree with you. I mean, we hear it all the time. They're like, "My gosh, you're so real." And I'm like, "But in my mind, I feel like I'm being vulnerable with you all right now." And it's just, but I wanted to know. I mean, my gosh, I mean, there's so much I want to know about you. But medical school. It's so challenging. Everything.
Oof,
Medical school,
oof.
USMLE, everything, all the stuff. A book? What was it? I mean, there's obviously something had to have compelled you. I mean, what was it? I mean, if you could
Oh,
just, if I know, I know you've done TED Talks, and we can get into that. Let's talk about the book, and then we can talk about the TED Talk. But
oh
like,
boy.
what was it? What was it? And now I know too that everybody, I mean, including me, like, I want you to come speak with our doctor. I mean, everybody wants you to come. Like, what was it that compelled you to actually, you know what, I'm going to do this on top of everything else going on in your life?
It goes back to I wanted to share my story because I felt that my story was, compelling enough for it to impact others. So let me tell you a story then.
Yeah, love it.
Because we all love stories.
We do.
So, I was in my last year of medical school and I had done all of my exams. I had passed everything, everything was great. And we have to take at my medical school, we had to take a practice exam before we sat for the medical boards. Okay. So it was not the real medical boards, it was a practice exam. And we had to score about 35 to 40 points above the national average. All right. So passing on this exam is something like a 200, and we had to score a 231. So this exam, again, practice exam before the real boards, I took it, I failed. I took it again, I failed. I studied harder, I failed. I was missing this exam by 5 points, 4 points, 2 points. On my 7th try of this exam, I missed it by 1 point, and my medical school kicked me out. And they said, "That's it. Sorry." It's, and this also on top of this happened right when COVID hit, right in the middle, right at the start of the pandemic. And for me, for any medical student, I mean, first of all, as you both know, as a doctor, as a medical student, talking about failure is probably one of the most shameful things that you
Yeah.
could talk about. When you're a doctor already, you're already here. We already made it. We did it. We're on the other side. There's other things that we're dealing with, but in medical school, nobody wants to talk about failure. No one wants to talk about doing poorly. If we judge ourselves harsh enough if we get anything below a 90. And so talking about failing out of medical school, that was, I mean, I was beside myself. And so I said, okay, well, of course I had my 24-hour breakdown, but then I said, okay, how am I going to deal with this? How do I get back up on the horse? What do I do? What are my next steps? What are my action steps? And so I said, okay, the first thing I have to do is apply to other medical schools. So all of the other medical schools that I spoke with, that I emailed, they said, you're going to have to repeat your 3rd and your 4th year of medical school. And again, mind you, this was my last exam before medical school ended. So I would have to repeat 2 whole years. And I was like, okay, there's a silver lining here. There must be a silver lining here. I could turn this negative situation into a positive one. I know I can.